Oh, hello everyone, Ito here and welcome back to another week of this Minecraft series. And this week we need to catch up because, for the last week I didn't upload, but I was still playing a little bit. I was doing more other work of IRL thingies that I'm going to update you today. But as you can see, I'm working with a brand new gear set, and in between the last week and this week, we have done some progress, but most of the progress was for my projects outside of the game, so also I'm going to talk about that. And actually, let's start with this right now. So we're starting with this brand new set of gear. I just have been working into getting ready for the new update, update 14, and we are not going to be updating yet. We are going to delay the update for one more extra week because we think that it's a hot fix also coming that is going to fix some stuff like the 10 size catalyst and inscriptions, and we are playing a lot with the vault, so that's going to be something that we kind of really want to sort it out. And of course we'd rather go with one big update than just a small one and then the hot fixes and trying to help with all other people. Just now there are just like 6 or 7 people, but sometimes we get like 8 or 12 or stuff like that. So yeah, more people is playing, especially on the weekends. So yeah, we are going to be waiting. So that helped me to make a lot of different crystals for going into more gold and using that gold for crafting the gear. And as you can see, a helmet with extra mana. Sadly, I couldn't roll actually the innate mana. And maybe I could try to grid it, but I think it's fine so far. A decent chest plate is not the best values, but you can see crafting potential pretty much nothing up to this point. Another pair of set of leggings, which is really good. And of course the boots, which are also really powerful. And these are the only ones that I don't know if actually they can roll for mana into prefixes, but I guess not. And also a new foci with an insane amount of poison avoidance. So yeah, with all of this gear, actually, I got a set that can hold out pretty much everything. And as you can see, this is my full set, and also I'm going with the chromatic powder. So pretty much now my gear, I don't get damage on my gear and on myself. So yeah, full protection. You can see check my mana if you weren't aware of that. And blam, I just take mana for damage. So I love this set, and also since everything is soul bounded, you can see even my magnet is soul bounded. I don't need to care about the damage on the gear. I can go ham crazy. I don't need to go with weird setups with the voiding. No, I need to go for the ender anchor. I don't need to concern myself about anything of that. And that's kind of my way. I just want to play. I just want to roam around. I just want to have it easy. Even if I'm playing on normal, not on easy. Just because, I'm just having enough fun and I don't need to go for that extra craziness. So that's not my style here. So yeah, this is what I have been done with the gear, but actually not everything is done because we have done something with the old gear. But after a lot of working and grinding, my old gear was saved. I should probably have done this from the start of the whole series, so if you're starting in Vault Hunter, especially in update 14, maybe if you want to have a lot of mementos, it's going to be good to sort a lot of space, and I mean a lot, like a lot of space, to allocate all of your gear, because, mostly it's because they are not stackables, and then later on you can have like a big hallway telling all of your stories, but again, you need to do that from level 1 because you are going to be changing a lot of gear. So I just did this for my last piece of gear, and also it's going to be probably the only one that is actually going to be really with kind of a node being used. It's going to be just a memento. But as you can see, everything here now is more clear, and I want you to follow me into this dark room. Oh, this is our hermit crab that is actually custodying this whole place. This is going to be like one of the 10 of followers that got converted by a crab. That's part of our law. And yeah, I got some of the mementos here. I'm probably going to build a hallway for mementos and stuff that we have been doing collaboratively over here inside of the whole kind of a server. And yeah, I know. Here you are going to see that you have my old gear. And yeah, it's pretty much what we had before. So it's really cool that you now can compare it and see the difference. Now I'm clearly going for an style here. And probably I'm going to try to have the full set, so also having an extra backpack on something, but not on this one, but probably more on the other one. So that way I can easily just press a button and change pretty much... Oh, that was a lag. Change pretty much everything in and trying different builds. So right now I got 4, 8, plus this one, which is the center one, different builds that we can test out. And also I got some gear here that probably we can play with around. I just collected these over the time, but I haven't checked it. And this is just the extra one. So this is what I have been done. And also we got this. And behind this, what this? All of our Tenos thingies plus some extra altar chests. So yeah, these 3 rooms actually for the bottom side, this is a Visaline. And this is powered via a create water wheel. It's really simple, and then it's just the pressure plate where I just convert it into apples. So simple, straightforward. Ooh, that was laggy. And when you go out, everything is powered down. So I love it. And also another thing that I have been doing is working here because from the new update, there are some things that are going to change. I mean, a lot of things are going to change, but we are going to talk about the actually changes when we update, so probably the next week or the week later on. But I need to clear some stuff from here. For example, I removed the cheap vault rocks because they are going to be removed. I removed the cake seals that I was collecting, and I moved the blank seals over there. For the other part, I think pretty much I got everything here that I should care about, so I don't think nothing else is going to be need to change. But one of the things that we need to remove is actually this drawer. So this is kind of essentially how I'm doing it. I'm just breaking that. I'm just placing it down and just going with the drawer key. I lock it. I lock it again for usage in the future, so this way it's not going to be filled with anything else, and then I'm just going to have it here. So probably I'm going to replace these with something like a 2x2 or something similar for all of the different materials that we are going to need here. Like for example, we are going to require the catalyst inscriptions or the catalyst fragment, that's it. We are going to be needing probably inscriptions? I really don't know. And probably some other things, but to be honest, yeah, I don't know exactly what material that we are going to be needing, and for sure it's not going to be this ancient copper. So yeah, I'm going to complete that when the next update came out. So for now it's going to be just like that. We are ready to talk about that. Because this is kind of what I was doing on the last few weeks. I was doing my own role-playing game. I could come up with a lot of different stuff and maybe allocate some time for streaming, but to be honest, I was so good into developing, I got a really good rhythm, and everything was coming smoothly with the testings and the feedback, so I went crazy. I went super ham, and I managed to complete the whole character sheet, which means everything that I intended is done. Now I just need to test more, of course, do more stuff, writing it properly, editing. That's kind of the long journey. But everything is already in like their starting point, and I know exactly what to do there, what to do here, what to do on the other side. So I would say like now I know exactly what is the full picture, the full scope of everything, and where is the current standing that I am on the game. So I love that. And also, I've been kind of a dual language developing this, so whenever you see something that I talk about my game that it's actually on Spanish like that, because every single term there is going to be on Spanish, that means it's complete, it's done, finito, everything completado, totally done. So in this case, I got the last stage of the character sheet, and everything else now is just me explaining. And this is really important because it's more work, yep, twice the work and sometimes even more. But I just noticed from my old kind of years of experience in terms of role-playing games and learning or reading them in Japanese, French, Spanish, some of the Portuguese, but my Portuguese is not too good, and also English, that when you translate something, especially role-playing game terms, to other language, especially romantic ones like French, Spanish, and whatsoever, it's terrible. Your whole game experience go drop to the ground, and it's really, really bad. So I wanted to overcome that, and whenever I manage to come with a term or a concept or a mechanic that is actually fine in Spanish, I just know it's done. It's ready. I just need to develop it now because everything is sorted out. So this had been my whole journey, and yeah, I'm just going to briefly talk about this. I already did that and recorded this like 3 or 4 times, but my explanation was super long, okay? I'm super excited about my game. I got the shortest video, is like 20 minutes, just me talking about the character sheet. It's not good. I can't help myself. I can't. My game is so good. I'm so super excited. So I'm just going to try to refrain and to do the shortest one. Hopefully it's going to be like 5 minutes or less. But I am not going to make any promise because my game is so good and I can keep talking about it forever. So let's just get started with this. Yeah, the game, I'm not going to talk about the name. The name is a little bit of a placeholder, but it's inspired. It's a high fantasy game with heroic deeds in the kind of a foreign lands of the Hinomoto. This is pretty much inspired in ancient Japan, but I decided to go more with the fantasy setting instead of the historical one because I kind of learned that history and I love it, but all the feedback was, yeah, maybe you are nerding that too much, so it's not so fun. I mean, not all the people are interested in what happened exactly in 1492 besides the World War II, so yeah. So I decided to tone it down on that part and go actually crazy with the more fantasy, and now I have a way more creative freedom, and trust me, my world is really cool, but I'm not going to talk about it. So yeah, is the Sengoku Jidai period, which is the era of the period of time of the warring clans, of the warring state, depending on how you can translate actually these small clan states actually that rule the lands. Of course, you got your name, your school, and your gumi, which is your party. This is a really cool concept inside of the game, that your table is always playing with a party. There are no like loner characters. Everything is playing together. Then we got the main 6 attribute, and of course, because of the name, everything is kind of in batches of 6. Yeah, every single one of these is like a Japanese concept. It's more like, as the name implies, it's a precept. It's not like a one thing, you know. For example, you, and I'm just going to talk about this, it's like your courage, but also it's like your action, it's like your value or your valor. It's everything that compels you in terms of like the leadership to move forward, do stuff. Don't be static, just do stuff, you know? And in that regard, there's no like an easy translation. It's just you, and you are going to use that you for doing stuff, for taking risks, for taking actions. And everything that is like physical movement is related to this. So it's way more than agility, it's way more than might, it's way more than dexterity, but also it's way more than just like a passive physical skill, because it's also like the leadership for being always at kind of a leading from the front, essentially. And every single one of these precepts is also a reflection of that. I got a cool central honor team, which is actually a resource that each share amongst all your table. Of course, the classical set of skill sets from the political side, the martial side, and actually the mystical or magical side. You got a gear set, which is all kind of at your backpack, and that's it. This already solved the problem in Minecraft. It's like this. You got up to 6 items, and that's it. There is no more. You want to carry more? Well, you need to drop something else. You want to carry more than 6? Well, but you can. Sucks to be you. But at the same time, a samurai is always ready. So it's not like you need to grab like, oh, I didn't write my, my clothing, so I'm naked. Nope, a samurai is always ready. So you don't need to mark it out. You only mark the things that are kind of over the top, the things that are extra. So you don't mark your weapons here. You don't mark your food. Everything is actually provided to you because you are the one who served, and your lord is always going to be providing you from that. So you only mark here the ones that are extra or that are mission specific. So yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. we got your aspect, which is the side when you can kind of actually get rewarded by role playing your character. And I really value role play. I focus so much in narrative role playing games, so I don't care too much about the rolling, and I don't care at all about the kind of a result of the dice as long as you and all your kind of a table is having fun. So I wanted you to provide for mechanics to have more fun with that. And that's kind of a way my whole system doesn't penalize you or doesn't punish you for failing. Actually, you always kind of a fail forward. Even a failure is something fun and engaging to be with. But in the case of the aspect, it's kind of a way for you to portray and show to the others why your character is the way it is. And these are the aspects. And the whole system of this is actually you are going to be rewarded most of the time to be successful on your role just because you are going to be the root leadership. So you want to be the leader, well, you just can grab your aspects from leadership and you are going to lead the team. And you are going to fight with the leader because you are the leader and stuff like that. So you get the point. They can be really, really cool. You got, of course, the classic injuries that you can have over the time, but as you can see, there's no like death or something like that because you are heroics. And also, if you go really with the historical setting that I talked at the start, well, pretty much every single one of the characters is going to be made after the first session. So that is not fun. That is not fantasy. That is not cool. No one wants to play with the guy with one left arm. So instead of doing that, you just got these type of injuries, like for example, shame in the state of the mind or the social. You can have contusions or concussions or minor cuts, or even you can lose a whole sense, but you can recover from this. So there's no like severed limbs. That is not fun. It sounds cool, but when you are that, nah, that is not good. So yeah, all of these are things that you are going to have that are going to maim you in the mission while you are doing something, but you can recover from it. And the same is going to happen with the spirit side or the magical side. You can be haunted by nightmares, or you can have hallucinations or curses even, but yeah, everything can be regained this. Don't get me wrong, you can still die, but it's going to be different. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. Either you die or not, but it's more going to be based on the story, not necessarily because your character just lose one arm and is bleeding, and yeah, no, that is not fun. And the last thing is the legacy, where you kind of tell to the table, and also you get benefit from that, the glories of your family and the tribulations that your family has faced. So this is like kind of a once per session thing, pretty much, because you mark them, and everything that is marked can only be used once. So let's say like you fought on the Battle of Okehasama, and because you, or I mean not you, your family fought on the Battle of Okehasama, you are allowed to re-roll a failed roll on you, because represent your courage for being in that gruesome battle. So that's kind of how you can pretty much ground your character and your family more into the whole world. And you can at the same time have the same tribulation. The tribulation from the Battle of Okehasama. And see, this is more like the negative side. Maybe actually your family lost on that battle. Maybe your family got almost dismantled. And this is tribulation is how your family overcome that. And now, because your family overcome that, maybe actually instead of re-rolling a U roll, actually maybe it's going to be a 2U one, because it's about their discipline, how they kind of embrace that failure and they kind of persevere and stuff like this. So I love this. This is the whole social aspect of everything. To be honest, I think I nailed it. So I love my game. Let's go with the other more probably nitty-gritty one, which is the conflict sides. Okay, you're ready with me here? Are you? Now we are going to go with the conflict side, and well, I must tell you that I struggle with this more, because actually I even spent like a full hour explaining everything, and I was kind of a crazy, especially working on this side, okay? So I'm even more excited, and I got so many different nitty-gritty mechanics. I spent the last week of streams pretty much explaining everything here, and I even got more cards here to show you later. So I'm going to try to go with the rough overall and just try to follow me here, but if you get lost at some point, feel free to kind of drop a question or a comment, and I'm going to do my best to keep it simple and also explanatory because, I can go crazy with this, so bear with me. Probably the most interesting mechanic that I have on my whole game is the muso. And the muso is like the meaning of the word is like being unmatched, being unrivaled, being without anyone else that can stand up to your feet and you're still above everyone else. So this is pretty much the bar, if you want, that you want to feel while you are inside of the conflict to finish it, to resolve it, and actually to be the only winner. And of course, if you play with a gumi, that means you are the leader of that party, and actually you are going to allow your whole party pretty much to win. So the cool thing about this is now you don't only need to necessarily be like the guy that makes everything. Also, you can help your team members, and then you can help your party to actually succeed by allocating all the resources on one guy, or you can divide them and then say like whichever take it, it's kind of the more winner, but we are all going to win. So these just things alone create different opportunities. And it's not kind of a coincidence that actually you got like a mirror side on the other cheat. And this is a really cool thing because I'm going to use a clip here, a clipboard, like a really simple tool that it's pretty much universal in the whole world. And you are going to being able to mark this like really fast and simple, and also it's going to convey like how much you progress toward your cultivation, which is pretty much how much experience, if you want, in the world that you are going to have. So the better you are inside of the combat also, or the conflict, the better also you are going to be progressing because you are going to be learning through that. So overall, I really love that mechanic. I think it's one of the most unique things that I have so far, but let's move on because we are far off from ready. You are going to see like here you got the diplomatic side, the martial side, and the mystical side. That means these are going to be my three main classes. The political ones, you can think like this is more like a bar, but way better. I mean, trust me, way better. This is something that has never, ever been done before in a roleplay game. And I'm pouring my soul pretty much here, and it's going to be really, really cool. So yeah, it's like the best thing ever. Also, you have the martians in the same conflict, in the same battlefield if you want, and then you're going to have the mages or the mystical ones, and they are kind of a really cool and unique, but again, martials and mages are probably the most common thing, but the diplomats, oh, the hime, ooh, they are going to be really cool. So yeah, you got kind of these three type of classes in the same conflict. Then every single one of them got different competencies, which is kind of a little bit of a thing like the skills, but they are not going to be the same here because it doesn't make sense to have like a battle skill like your kenjutsu, your skill for the sword fighting over this side when actually you are going to be fighting with that over this side. So disregarding how much you want to create your character, you are always going to have a set amount of competencies because you're actually trained into that. You are, depending on the class you have, you are going to be developed further here. So this is more related to this top part, which are actually your school ranks. The more, and you can think about these like levels on D&D that range from 0, because you start at rank 0, up to 10, when you are like pretty much the most powerful being in the world. You are going to develop your school ranks. And that's why I use this kind of representing the different progression on the school ranks. And this is like the school technique that you can unlock. And you can use the more ranks you have, the more uses that you are going to have for that specific skill. So that's kind of really cool. And also, whenever you level up one rank, you're also going to allocate more points into your competences. So easy peasy, no need to think about the min-maxing of the things. I mean, you can still do, but there is no ever that you are going to be like totally useless into a conflict. And that's the thing that I love the most. So no player left behind, pretty much. Disregarding how you are going to play, you can be better than others, but you are never going to be useless. And then you got this slot for having your weapons and tools and whatsoever. And this is kind of the whole thing for adding the mechanics and everything else. And then you got like an endurance bar, which is pretty much like akin to your HP. And this looks like a lot in terms of the iconography, but to be honest, it's like super intuitive after you start filling it out because everything is related to something. The things that are in a circle are numbers, so you put numbers here, and also you put numbers here in those whole thing. You don't need to fill everything, you just fill the ones that are useful. The things that are like a diamond shape, these squares or boxes, are the things that are going to be marked out like with slashes. You just need to mark it once. You don't need to fill the full box. You just mark it. And other things that can be marked or unmarked depending if you are going to use it or not. When actually it's kind of unmarked is because it's available. When it's marked, it's just consumed, and that's it. And these are something that you can mark and unmark while you are in the conflict. The same for your weapons. Whenever you mark something, it's like your weapon is not destroyed, but it's harmed in some ways, less useful. This is really cool for the projectile weapon because that means you run out of ammunition. But also for the kind of martial weapons, could be that your weapon got lost on the edge or your weapon got harmed in some way, and then you need to be more careful. It's not lost, it's not destroyed, nothing changed, just you know that if it happens again, now you're going to have your weapon destroyed. And the cool thing is you got one here, which is the Daijutsu, proper of one of the clans, and I'm just going to nerd about this a little bit, so bear with me. Imagine that you are a warrior, that you are so powerful, you are so mighty, that actually your weapon is not going to be this puny sword, you know? No, no, no. You need to have something bigger. Is it going to be bigger? No, not really. I need something bigger than in Minecraft. It's going to be bigger, and even bigger than this, you know? It's going to be a weapon that needs to be 200 work, like a big warhammer that is probably going to be even bigger than my character. Like it's going to be 2 meters tall, it's going to be full made of metal, and actually your weapon is so big and so powerful that your techniques, because you are so mighty, are going to destroy your weapons. Because that's how freaking awesome you are. And actually if you play with more like funny weapons, more weak weapons, you are just going to destroy them. Because your whole fantasy is playing about extracting the most of your weapon for actually getting extra damage, being extra powerful, and being extra mighty, and just kind of overwhelming all of your enemies. So this is just kind of one of the things. And again, you can see like I got 18 different things, and you can think like these are my 18 different classes for the whole game. So I'm not going to go for all of them, but now you probably start getting the scope of my whole thing and why I spent the last 2 weeks just formatting stuff, because I have been working on this for years. So, moving on. You got your kind of class style here, or your, I mean, let's say like your component, your basic stuff. You can, if you want to say like your primary attributes, then you got your class fantasy if you want here, and then you got your weapon, your tools, your implements, and then you got like your powers here. And this is what I'm going to talk next, because this is probably one of the most unique things that you have seen probably in role-playing games ever. And trust me, it's going to be a lot, but I got a lot of credentials to back me up on this one. So just one more put, and hopefully you're still awake and alive, and I haven't lost you. And for this last put, I'm going to need your whole attention here, because I'm going to introduce something that is a little bit disruptive, totally kind of a half seen but not properly done in role-playing games before, which are the usage of cards and properly card game mechanics. So now you got here like your power up, you got your cool school techniques, you got your class fantasy, your weapons, whatever. But now we are going to go into the last step of the whole thing, and we are going to grab these two, which are going to be the kata. And the kata are your power up. And here, yes, it's a lot of text, yes, it's ugly, but this is not about being cool looking, this is about the functionality. Because instead of having like one skill that is going to do one thing, you know, like you got one level 2 fireball, and then you are going to have like another level 4 spells, or you are going to have another feat or another technique. No, that is not for me. You are going to have one technique, or in this case, you are going to start with 3 kata, 3 power-ups. Every single one of them is going to work differently, but all of them are going to work together, and over time, you are going to improve them. So it's like starting with a Pokemon deck if you want. You choose your element, and then you are going to add in kind of a more and powerful card, like leveled up Pokemons and whatsoever, like double energies and things like that, into your own deck. And the more you play, the more ranks that you are going to have, the better power-ups that you are going to have here. So, if you believe in me, I'm going to show you how this works. Starting with this, which is the crossbowman. It's probably not the best one, to be honest, because it's not the simple one. but it's the one that I showed on stream, and I don't want to reveal all of them, otherwise I'm going to go crazy, and this is going to be like 2 hours long. So just bear with me, and we are going to roughly talk about this. I'm not going to be in detail. But you got the Dojutsu Wasa and the Crossbowman Hoyo Wasa. Wasa is like the technique, and these are placeholder names because they are really lame, but it's how I just developed them, so that way I'm not going to be confused later on. So these are the techniques for the crossbow and the clan, which is the masterful clan of the crossbow, which is the Hoyo. You got a magazine here, which range from 1 to 6, which is the amount of bolts that you are going to have in your crossbow at all times. Then you go like this is the description from how this works with the crossbow, and also a condition that is going to be that you fight from a distance. So this is important because here it says that whenever you enter into a conflict with your crossbow skill, which is pretty much like whenever you roll for initiative, you are not going to be dumb like, oh, we got attacked by cold. No. You are going to put yourself up to a distance, and you are going to ready your weapon. And let's say the enemies are going to be there, you are going to be here, and you are going to be at a distance. And while you are at a distance, you are untargetable. I mean, you can be targeted, but you are not going to receive damage unless there is something that can remove that distance condition from you, or you are getting kind of shot out by another people with distance. So I love this concept because if you think about it, it's a little bit like the fly in Magic the Gathering, so that you can only be targeted by other fly creatures. It's like the same thing. So now you can have a sniper duels, or actually your sniper with the crossbow is going to be fighting against the mage on the opposite side. And oh boy, I need to refrain myself for going crazy there. But you get the point. So that's kind of one of the cool things. You immediately say like, oh, okay, my character fights from a range. My character is not a melee because that's a crossbow. Cool. And then you got one skill, which is the automatic shot, which means, or it reads like whenever you attack with your crossbow skills, you can reduce your magazine, which is this guy, and the starting point is 2. That's the number. That's just simple magazine that you can upgrade over the time. And you can reduce it in -1 up to the first level, because you start with that point, and you can see you got kind of a -1 / -2 / -3. That means on level 1 you get a -1, on level 2 a -2, on level 3 a -3. And in this case, it's whenever you reduce this, you gain the same amount into like harm tokens, which are like more damage as that value. So at the first level, if you use this automatic shot, you can shot twice, essentially reducing your magazine from 2 to 1, and you actually get 1 extra damage. Simple and straightforward. So whenever you are fighting with crossbow, you know, like, oh, I can use my magazine to instantly reload, shoot a second bolt, and deal more damage. Easy peasy. But now you know, like, you got 3 points here, 2 points more here, and 2 more here. That means whenever you level up, there is a chance that you want to allocate a point and develop more this technique, more this kata, more this power side of your whole character, or acquire a new one. For so far, let's say, like, you really like this crossbowman and you want to develop further to be a better crossbowman, well, you can choose to being able to add more volts into your magazine. So instead of reducing by 1, you can reduce by 2 in this case. So you can empty it into 1 single attack, or you can have a power-up charger, or in this case a magazine, and you can increase your magazine size from 3 and 4. So actually you can have a bigger magazine. Or you can go with a super powerful shot that actually requires to bow this card. That's why the mechanic of the card bowing is important, because actually that means if you bow this card and on the next turn you want to use it again, well, you already wasted your power shot, so you can't unless you defend. Because, you know, you can always attack, but you never straighten your kata while you are attacking because you keep pushing forward. But if you defend, you can protect yourself and also ready out your kata, because on that turn you are just protecting, but also you are just kind of trying to aim for the opponent. So whenever you are defending yourself and you are running away, you are also trying to see like, oh, I'm charging a bolt and now I can fight back with my crossbow. So that's kind of the whole thing. In this one, you acquire a new like effect, which is impact, which is essentially whenever you roll a critical one, you deal extra +1 damage. And it says also if you don't get any critical, you straighten this kata, because it's like you don't waste the shot. So you aim for the opponent, you deal extra damage, but if you don't roll the critical, it doesn't matter. You can keep trying again on the next turn. So that's kind of the whole thing for the crossbow. And it's really cool because now you can see like you can pretty much customize how you want to play with the crossbowman. But if you are the Hoyo, if you are the master of the crossbow, now you get this second kata. And this is like the thing. You can empty your charger with this one. Again, it's the bow cost, which means it's kind of a one per battle unless you defend and try to do it again. Which is whenever you attack, you can reduce your charging immediately from wherever it is, from 2, from 3, from 4 to 0, to nothing. So your magazine is actually emptied totally. That's the skill. If that value is higher than the opponent, you can mark injuries. If it's even kind of a fully loaded, you can mark more injuries. And you can even get an extra reaction here to mark another injury. And every single character in the game's got at most 6 injuries. So with this, you can empty your magazine, yes, but you pretty much have destroyed an opponent just because you are so good that your whole scheme is like actually kind of a half-killed anyone. It doesn't matter. Oh, it's a guardian, then half dead shot. It's a dragon. I don't care. Well, a dragon is going to have more injuries, but you get the point. It's going to be really close to that because these guys are the master crossbowmen. So they are like the Chinese Chukonun. They are the master for this and kind of emptying a whole magazine. Theirs is pretty much like the Rambo on the world, just with crossbow instead of with a machine gun, but you get the point. So they are really good. The other skills are the Hoyo improvements, and you can, again, increase your magazine from +1 or +2, so you can go up to 6. Then the other thing is you can kind of evolve one of these kata for recharging your crossbow. So you are pretty much intended to never being out of ammunition unless you want to. And then you can have an scope, so you can roll an extra die, or you can have more like reinforcement for defending, and when you defend, actually you get an extra die. So simple and straightforward, but the whole thing is it's fully customizable. Of course, in between and arrange, and these are just the starting ones. Then you, with more ranks, can acquire way more powerful things like double attacks, extra power shots, and so on and so on. So yeah, this is like the whole thing. A lot of the mechanics came with the interaction in between bowing this kata, straighten them up, reducing damage, absorbing damage, playing with the tokens. It's the whole thing. And trust me, it's everything balanced. I got from this, spend my last, don't lose the techniques, spending my last pretty much 2 weeks doing everything here in terms of the balancing and everything out. And I did all of these 6 ones, all of for the martial classes, with the weapons, with the starting techniques, everything. And I tested out, and the feedback was huge. Everyone loves it. Even kind of the small critics were like, I think I want to try the other one. And that's it. It's not like, oh no, this is not bad. It's just the other one looks cooler to me. So yeah, I really love it. I'm super stoked with everything. I think I'm justified to not have been uploading for the last week. So yeah, I'm going to take a rest now because otherwise I'm not going to be able to contain myself. I'm still grinding in real life. And yeah, this video is too long. So in between the vaulting and the making the gear and of course working in real life in my whole game, I spent the whole week doing that. And also I must say that I actually run like 3 architect vaults. As I said at the start, we are not going to be updated yet. We are waiting for one of the hotfixes to come up. So probably for the next week, it's still going to be on the update 13. But after that, oh boy, we are going to talk about everything that is new because this is going to be crazy. And hopefully you can play with that. But if you're just starting, well, a lot of things are going to change, so probably it's going to be weird if you update now and we don't. But yeah, we are waiting for the next hotfix for upgrading the catalyst and the inscriptions. I have been doing a lot of things in between the Thanos or the Thanos pavilion that I did here, kind of pretty much outside of the camera for the first week, and the whole thing that I have been developing in real life with my whole game, with the testing and everything. It has been 2 weeks really productive, so hopefully you are excited. I mean, I know that I am so much. Hopefully it was toned down to bearing level, because I know I can be super annoying when I'm super excited. I can't contain myself. I love my game so much. So yeah, hopefully you had fun. And as usual, if you're interested into this, drop your comment or come to my stream, because we always talk about the development of the role-playing game during the stream. And see you there on the next weeks. I broke one of the girls. Well, good. Bye bye.